Here we are, the first Sunday in Lent. During Lent, we recall Jesus' 40 days in the desert. It is a pause between his baptism and the start of his public ministry. You can read all about it in Matthew chapter 3, verse 13 to chapter 4, verse 17. Jesus fasted, prayed, was tempted, and resisted. The actions of his life flowed powerfully from this space. Even though I enjoyed pancakes on Shrove Tuesday, sadly Ash Wednesday and the start of Lent passed me by in a frenzy of activity. The time I'd set aside to prepare myself in this message was quickly subsumed by my ever-growing to-do list. The learning from the books Beyond Busyness by Stephen Cherry, Working from a Place of Rest by Tony Horsfall, and A Better Song to Sing by Mags Duggan was in danger of getting lost in the busyness. But things can only get better, right? One did it. I claimed back my space for Lent by starting to practice the 6 disciplines I desire to develop over these 40 days of my spiritual journey. After 40 days, hopefully, I will have formed a habit so they are not just for Lent, but for my lifetime. I will intentionally step back from the busyness of my working life to be still, welcome silence, and to seek solitude. Before switching on any technology, I will draw closer to God in my stillness, in my silence, and in my solitude. Just me and God. And yes, I have started. When I calmed my soul and entered meaningfully into God's presence, I will seek to move deeper with God by reflecting, meditating on his word, contemplating on what God is saying to me and would have me do. Have I cracked it? Well, no. Am I better than I was on Ash Wednesday? Absolutely. How about you? What will you do this Lent? Just before Jesus began his 40 days of prayer and fasting, he was baptised by John in the Jordan. When he rose from the water, a voice came from heaven saying, "This is my Son, whom I love." A sign to all, both then and now, that love is the place from which we commence our Lent journey. Love is the place from which we commence every journey. We don't travel through Lent seeking God's love. We don't journey in the hope of finding God's love. God's love is our starting point, the fuel for our journey, the source of our energy and our well-being. May you develop the art of being still, being at peace in the silence, being comfortable in the solitude. As you reflect, meditate and contemplate, may you experience even more of God's love and God's grace, and may God bless you and keep you as you journey through this Lent.